When people talk about Revenge of the Sith, the battle between Anakin and Obi-Wan is often seen as the most important duel in the movie. But what if I told you that Yoda's fight against Palpatine mattered even more? Because if Yoda had won, there's a real chance Anakin never fully becomes Darth Vader. Think about it. Palpatine is the one who told Anakin that he could cheat death. Without Palpatine, Anakin is left without the knowledge he was promised, and that alone could have caused them to question everything. So why did Yoda back down? Why didn't he fight to the death? Or at least wait for Obi-Wan so they could face Palpatine together? Let's put this in perspective. Obi-Wan versus Anakin was personal. It was about betrayal, revenge, and a former master trying to stop his fallen apprentice. But Yoda versus Palpatine? This was the real war. If Yoda had won, the Empire as we know it never happens. The Sith's control over the galaxy is shattered before it truly began. More importantly, without Palpatine, Anakin has no one to manipulate him further. Anakin needed Palpatine. He didn't know how to save Padme. He was relying on Palpatine to teach him. If Palpatine had died that day, Anakin would have no path forward. Would he have stayed in the dark side with the promise of saving Padme? Would he have seen through the manipulation as the person who told him that he could cheat death dies? Would he have surrendered or tried to rule alone? The possibilities are endless, and it's one of the biggest what-ifs in Star Wars history. But here's the key moment. The moment Yoda realizes the battle is not going in his favor. Palpatine's lightning attack sends them both flying, but Yoda takes the worst fall. At that moment, Yoda isn't just physically outmatched. He realizes this fight is not winnable. This isn't a battle where one side is clearly stronger. This is a 50-50 fight, maybe even a 60-40 in Palpatine's favor. And Yoda knows what that means. If he stays and loses, the Jedi are done. One less Jedi Master to train Luke. One less leader in the future rebellion. If he dies here, he dies for nothing. And yeah, I do believe that Yoda knew that Anakin was the father of Padme's child. He was more wise than any other Jedi, and even Obi-Wan knew. But let's get back to the main point. He doesn't retreat because he's weak. He retreats because he's smart. Jedi's true fight against the Empire hasn't even started yet. And this brings us to the biggest question that nobody really asks. Why didn't Yoda and Obi-Wan face Palpatine together? It's not like Yoda and Obi-Wan didn't know where each enemy was. I mean, Yoda tells Obi-Wan straight up that Palpatine is too powerful for him and that he should go face Anakin instead. But why? Logically, if Yoda and Obi-Wan had fought Palpatine together, they likely would have won. Two of the greatest Jedi Masters against one Sith Lord, the odds swing heavily in their favor. So why split up? Yoda was the wisest Jedi of them all. He had already figured out, but Palpatine? He was the key. If he was eliminated, the Sith's grip on the galaxy would weaken, and Anakin's reason for staying in the dark side would disappear. Think about it. Palpatine was the only one who convinced Anakin that the dark side could save Padme. If Palpatine was killed before teaching him anything, Anakin might have realized too late that he was tricked. Maybe he wouldn't have turned back immediately, but without Palpatine's guidance, he would completely be lost. This is why Yoda should have gone after Palpatine with Obi-Wan. They had one shot to destroy the Sith Lord before the Empire could fully take control. But by splitting up, they gave the Sith exactly what they needed. Time. And that's why this line is so important. When Bail Organa picks up Yoda, the Jedi Master doesn't say, "We must leave." He doesn't say, "We'll try again later." He says, "Bailed I have." Not lost the duel, failed. At that moment, Yoda isn't just talking about the fight. He's acknowledging that the Jedi as an order have lost. The Sith won because the Jedi didn't see it coming. The Republic fell because they got too involved in the war. And now they had to face their one opportunity to prevent it all from happening. It's one of the most powerful moments in the saga because Yoda knows if he had won, everything would be different. But because he lost, the Sith's rule over the galaxy was sealed, at least for the time being. So I think in that moment, Yoda thought in his mind that he should have brought Obi-Wan with him. He should have brought Obi-Wan to defeat Palpatine. But before the fight even happened, when they were deciding what plans to go forward next, Yoda believed, even though he was the wisest Jedi of them all, that he could face Palpatine and kill him. But unfortunately, the sad reality is he wasn't powerful enough. And I know it's easy to say, well, in hindsight, this is what they should have done because we know what happens. But I just think about that moment when Obi-Wan and Yoda are deciding what to do next. And they decide to split up. One goes and fights Anakin, one faces Palpatine. And I just think that is the biggest mistake that solidified the Empire's rule for many years. Even after this mistake, why did Yoda retreat? Because he knew that this wasn't the final battle. It was just the beginning of the war. If he had stayed and lost, the Jedi would have been truly extinct. But by leaving, he ensured that the fight could continue, that he could one day train Luke, the one who would eventually do what he couldn't, bring the end to the Sith. And if he had fought alongside Obi-Wan, maybe Revenge of the Sith would have ended very differently. What do you think? Should Yoda and Obi-Wan have faced Palpatine together? But the bigger question is, would Anakin stay with the dark side if Palpatine died, if Yoda and Obi-Wan fought him together? That's actually an interesting idea that I'm going to turn into a video, so stay tuned. If you enjoyed this deep dive, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more. Thanks for watching, guys, and may the Force be with you always.